Hey guys, welcome back to Piston Malaysia. Today we are here at Sepang International Circuit where Mercedes-Benz Malaysia has just introduced the CKD variant of the A35 AMG as well as the GLA35 AMG. We are about to go check both these cars out, but before that, let's hear a message from our sponsor. I know there are many different brands of fuels out there. You can either get it right, where it works for life, or you can get it incredibly wrong. And that's where BH Petrol and its Infinity RON 95 and RON 97 Euro 4M are different from the rest. How is it different, you may ask? Well, BH Petrol uses the latest generation German additives to provide the perfect support for modern engines. This additive is specially formulated to work with modern engines. It's designed to keep your fuel injectors clean and to prevent them from blocking up. Besides that, the Infinity RON 95 and Infinity RON 97 Euro 4M fuels also have enhanced corrosion inhibitors. These range of petrols also reduce friction between the piston and the engine walls. This translates into reduced energy loss, giving you instant and consistent fuel savings. And that is why you will never go wrong with BH Petrol's Infinity RON 95 and RON 97 Euro 4M. It is the right choice. This is the A35 AMG. It costs 325,000 ringgit. It's a CKD variant and there are a couple of key features that distinguish this from the CBU variant. However, from the outside, it's still very much an AMG. You still get this twin luves, you get the AMG apron, you get the AMG skirts. Everything about this car is still very much authentically AMG. Let's check out the engine. The A35 AMG as well as the GLA35 AMG are still powered by the same 2-litre turbocharged engine producing 306 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque, still mated to the same 8-speed gearbox as before, but this is a very different engine as compared to the A45S. The A45S is a bespoke AMG engine and it stays true to the one-man, one-engine ethos that distinguishes an AMG from the other Mercedes-Benz model lines, whereas this engine is the regular run-of-the-mill Mercedes-Benz engine but has been tuned to make 306 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. From the side, you get 19-inch wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires, whereas the GLA35 runs on 20-inch wheels. Now if you come to the back, you get this AMG apron and twin exhaust, whereas the A45 gets quad exhaust. Now this is what distinguishes one from the other. Inside the A35 AMG, well, current owners of the CBU variant will find this place a very familiar place to be, except for a few key differences that distinguishes the CKD variant from the CBU, such as this charge pad over here, this Dynamica leather interior. Of course, you also get a microfiber leather interior, which is what you see over here. And then you also get other things such as this AMG controls on the steering wheel. This is where you can control the drive modes, you can control the suspension settings, you can control the gearbox settings. All from these buttons over here. These are basically quick access buttons, and this is what distinguishes the CKD variant from the CBU variant. Well, if you're going to compare the interior for this A35 to the GLA35, the A35 feels a little bit more compact, lower, tighter, whereas the GLA feels a little bit more spacious. There's also one more thing that distinguishes the CKD from the CBU, and that's the Burmester sound system. A good sound system is always welcome. Okay, so in the A35 now, sorry, A35, and immediately it feels a little tighter in here as compared to the GLA. The GLA is obviously a little bit more spacious, but it's essentially roughly about the same car, same engine, same chassis. If I'm not mistaken, besides the ride height, roughly about the same suspension components again. But in terms of the interior, the design, buttons, everything, layout, everything's the same as the GLA35. Everything's the same. Now, again, starting in Sport Plus, same 306 horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque. However, this accelerates a little harder, 4.8 seconds, 0 to 100, where else the GLA, as I said earlier, has an acceleration figure of 5.2. And immediately, this feels a little bit more eager than the GLA. In fact, it feels a little bit sportier as well. It's quite fun actually. Much more fun than the GLA, if I dare say. Body roll is a lot planted as compared to the GLA. The GLA is obviously a taller car, so you're going to feel a lot more body roll in corners, where else the A35 feels more planted. So if you're the type of guy or girl that appreciates a sporty drive, I reckon that you'll appreciate the A35 more than the GLA. The GLA feels more like a daddy's car for somebody that wants a comfortable sports car that can take their family around in. No doubt, the A35 is more fun than the GLA. Not done though. Bit of understeer, just a tad bit, and it feels a lot more eager to turn in as compared to the GLA. Even the throttle response is better, and it feels like it just wants to hug the corners. It just blasted through that corner at about 160 kilometers per hour. And wow, it just feels so planted. It feels like it has a lot more to offer though. Nice. Very nice, in fact. You can feel the 4-matic suspension working there. It's just pushing the front out of the corner just ever bit so slightly. Very nice. I really like the sound that it makes. Okay. Braking at 200 meters. I need to keep this car back in one piece. But again, just a bit of understeer over there. Suspension, very nice. Yeah. Conclusion, A35 is definitely the sportier car as compared to the GLA35. Much more fun in corners. Accelerates a lot harder. It makes the same fancy sound. Of course it does. It's the same engine and gearbox. But like I said, if you want a sports car, and you can't decide between the A35 and the GLA35, the A35 is more sports than the GLA35. So, as you can see, the GLA35 AMG is still very much the same as the car it replaces, even though in its CKD form you get the vertical slits over here that distinguishes the GLA from the A35. The A35, keep in mind, gets twin louvres from the side, whereas the GLA, like I said, gets vertical slits. You get the same AMG front lip and the apron. However, in the GLA you get this, looks like power domes, but they're not power domes actually, it's just part of the design. So from the side, the GLA runs on 20-inch wheels, whereas the A35 runs on 19-inch wheels. But that's not all. The GLA also gets Continental tires, which I'm not quite a fan of, whereas the A35 gets Pirelli tires. And then from the back, it's just not as sporty as the A35. Of course, you still get this twin exhausts, but you do not get that AMG apron that the A35 gets. Well, perhaps you do, but it doesn't really quite feel like it. But one thing's for sure, these exhausts are not fake tips. Thank God for that. As for the power plant, the GLA35 AMG gets the same engine and gearbox as the A35 AMG, 2-litre turbocharged, producing 306 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. However, the GLA35 doesn't accelerate as hard as the A35. The A35, as I said, does it in about 4.8 seconds, whereas the GLA does it in 5.2. Like I said, as soon as you get inside the GLA35 AMG, immediately you feel a little bit more spacious. The roof is a lot taller than the A35, and then you also notice this carbon fiber trim, and this is what distinguishes the GLA from the A35. Of course, there's this carbon fiber trimming on the side here as well, and the entire door panel is completely different from the A35 AMG. Again, what distinguishes the CKD variant from the CBU variant are, of course, the microfiber leather seats, and you also get an option for dynamic leather, and then you also get the Burmester sound system. I love those. And then charge pad and these dials on the steering wheel. Let's go take it for a drive now. So we are starting this drive with the new CKD Mercedes-Benz GLA35 AMG. It's essentially the same car as before, except that it's now locally assembled, of course. And there are a couple of key updates though, mostly around the interior. You get a charge pad, you get these fancy dials located on the steering wheel that let you select the drive mode as well as the suspension and the gearbox driving modes. As for the power, it still makes about 306 horsepower and about 400 Newton meters of torque. 0 to 100, 5.2 seconds. Nothing new over there, except that this is locally assembled lah. So what that actually gives you, and the most important part is, right now this car costs a mere 345,000 ringgit. Now I can't remember how much the previous CBU version of the GLA35 AMG used to cost, but I reckon there's probably a savings of about 20-30k for you lah. So now let's see how it feels like on track. I reckon it'll probably be about the same as before. So immediately from the get-go, we are starting from S+, which is the most extreme driving mode over here. So you get the stiffer chassis, the suspension is at its stiffest, throttle response is at its sharpest, and steering wheel immediately feels heavier. So what this translates to is a little bit of a bumpier ride, which means in corners it's probably very little body roll. But because this is the GLA and it has a higher ride height, so you're still going to feel a bit of body roll, but just very manageable. And of course, you get some fancy sounds lah. Sounds really good, there's no doubt about it. obviously not a car made for the track, no matter what Mercedes tells you. This is a sports car for the road. But it has some eager ambitions. It's still a sports car. It still makes some really nice sounds. It has some really good acceleration. And we're about to get on the front straight of Sepang circuit. Now let's see what it feels like.
You can slowly stay to the right. Let the second car come up to me. So first car move to the right.
Yeah. Sounds nice, feels nice. That's the most important thing. .163, 170, braking hard, 150 meters. No dramas.
After 10 seconds, we'll be slowing down and turning to the right.
But just as before,
Back onto the front straight.
plenty of body roll, even though we are on the hardest suspension setting at the moment. Throttle response is a little bit laggy as compared to the A45. But fun. Abundant of fun, no doubt.
That's great. Please front them up. That's right.
Nice, very nice. It sticks. That's the beauty of this car. It actually has abundance of grip. In terms of driving pleasure, I feel the A35 is a little bit more sportier to drive than the GLA. This car, the GLA, seems to be more designed for comfort and day-to-day driving with a touch of sportiness. So which would I choose? Well, the A35 feels a little smaller, feels a little tighter, but in terms of all-out sporty drive, the A35 does it for me. So the A35 costs about 325,000, whereas the GLA35 costs about 345,000. Available right now in Malaysia. Thank you so much for watching. If you got your attention until here, as always, do consider subscribing.